let's say a person goes to their doctor and says, doctor, what vitamin supplements you think I should take? The doctor will say, forget supplements. They're all snake oil. Eat a balanced diet. And the problem is that most people don't eat a balanced diet. When I used to
Hello and welcome. I am Coach Castle, a certified biomechanics expert, nutritionalist, and efficiency coach. Subscribe to this channel to learn the most efficient ways to maximize your muscle growth and recovery, enhance your body, and advance your mind, all using the latest science. Welcome to Castle's Corner.
I'm an online coach, but I'm in Florida currently, and I do have a lot of clients in person as well. And I get this all the time. I don't know if you've had to deal with it, but I don't like pills, and I have to try to explain that you really need to supplement and that they're critical. Would you mind speaking on supplementation and maybe recommending a short list for health and longevity?
Well, the supplementation, when I've talked about supplements, I've always keyed in on the word supplements. Supplements are to supplement what you're not getting in your diet. If you speak to the average physician, who, by the way, average physician knows zilch about nutrition. There's no training in medical school for nutrition. They can recognize certain nutritional deficiencies like thiamine, or maybe a riboflavin deficiency, but they don't know anything about the nuances, let's say, of nutrition. And the thing is that if you ask let's say a person goes to their doctor and says, doctor, what vitamin supplements you think I should take? The doctor will say, forget supplements. They're all snake oil. Eat a balanced diet. And the problem is that most people don't eat a balanced diet. When I used to give nutrition seminars, I always started the seminar, I'd ask a question to the audience. With a raise of hands, how many people eat a balanced diet? And when I'd ask that, half the room would raise their hands. Then I'd start going through what constitutes a balanced diet: dairy foods, meats, vegetables, fruit, blah, blah, seafood. With each passing one, less and less hands would go up. By the time I got to the dairy foods, and a lot of people don't like to drink milk or eat cheese or this kind of stuff, there was like 1 or 2 hands raised, before they had almost the whole room. So, my point being, most people who think they follow a balanced diet don't. As a consequence, they will be lacking certain, there's no question, they'll be lacking certain nutrients. It's going to catch up with them. And then there's the problem that certain nutrients are very, very difficult to get in food. 2 that come to mind are vitamin E. The requirement for vitamin E is tiny. It's like 15 units, but 15 units won't give you the health benefits. It's kind of like testosterone. You won't get any, all it will do is prevent a overt vitamin E deficiency. To get the health benefits of vitamin E, such as cardiovascular protection, you have to take minimal 400 units, and it has to be mixed tocopherols, also including tocotrienols, because vitamin E is a general term. It actually consists of 8 different substances, 4 tocopherols and 4 tocotrienols. For maximum health benefits, you have to have all of them, right? So the other one, of course, is vitamin D. My God, where do you get vitamin D? It's free. You get it from the sun. Problem: the sun has to be in the right place in the sky to get the right spectrum of ultraviolet rays. The ultraviolet rays react with the cholesterol in your skin. It's converted by enzymes into vitamin D. If the UV spectrum is, in other words, if the sun is not in the right place in the sky, like in the winter in northern latitudes, you can walk around naked and you're not going to get any vitamin D production because you're not getting the UV spectrum. If you have darker skin, you're not going to get enough vitamin D from the skin. If you're obese or have high body fat levels, the vitamin D that's produced is going to be sequestered in the fat, and you're still not going to have optimal vitamin D levels. If you're an older person, over, let's say, 50, the ability to convert cholesterol in the skin into vitamin D from ultraviolet declines. You can also have vitamin D. What am I saying? I'm saying that most people should take a vitamin D supplement. Relating to what you say, somebody might say, well, I don't want to take those pills. You got to look at what a vitamin D pill looks like. I take a vitamin D pill. Each one contains 22,400 units. It's a little gelatin pill. You know how small it is? It's so small that if I drop it on the floor, I can't find it. That's how small it is. This could be swallowed by an infant. with no problem. A newborn baby could swallow a vitamin D capsule, and it goes a long way because it turns out vitamin D is involved in over 1,000 genes in the body. Vitamin D receptors are everywhere, the brain, the muscles, you name it. Without vitamin D, you have increased chance of cancer, heart disease, diabetes, you name it. Now, to answer your question about swallowing the pills, there's some problem. Some people don't like to swallow pills. It's true, but they either will have to kind of like get used to it, or I don't think it's that a great an idea. But if you want to, you could chop up the pills and mix them in a drink if you have to take it that way. There are some liquid vitamin formulas. They're not very good, though. Most of them don't have enough potency to be of any good. But I mean, if you're lacking these vitamins or minerals, for example, if you don't eat dairy foods, where are you going to get your calcium from? The vegetarians will, if there was one city, well, you get them from your vegetables. You're lying. Yeah, calcium's in vegetables, but you also have, I wrote an article on this in Applied Metabolics. It's about anti-nutrients. These are the natural substances found in foods that basically lock on to nutrients and prevent them from being absorbed. In the case of vegetables, you have something called oxalate. Oxalate, like spinach, is high in calcium, but it's loaded with oxalate. The oxalate kind of locks onto the calcium. So even though you'll see a listing of a certain amount of milligrams of calcium in spinach, you're not getting all that because a lot of it's going to pass through the body. So the only really reliable source of calcium is dairy foods, milk, cheese, that kind of stuff. Yogurt is okay too, but if you're not eating those foods, you're not getting calcium. You're going to have to take a calcium supplement. Now, the good news is that there is a very absorbable form of calcium called calcium citrate. That's the most absorbed form. Unlike other calcium supplements, you don't have to take calcium citrate with a meal. Other calcium supplements, calcium requires acid to be absorbed, the stomach acid. So you have to take it with a meal, any other calcium supplement. But if you take calcium citrate, you can take it with a glass of water. The good news, I've seen this, they have calcium citrate tablets that are fruit flavored tablets. You chew them. I mean, they taste good. If
I might want to, while I'm thinking about what you just said, triggered something. You mentioned D3, but I don't think you mentioned you have to take D3 with fat, some form of fat. Would you mind speaking on that?
Yes, vitamin D. It's a good point. Vitamin D is classified as a fat-soluble vitamin. In other words, you have to have a little bit of fat to be absorbed. You don't have to eat like a pound of lard or anything like that. If you take like a tablespoon of olive oil or put a pat of butter on something, that's all you need. Because what you're doing when you eat fat, you stimulate the secretion of bile, and the bile is needed to kind of emulsify or make the fat-soluble vitamin into a form that can be absorbed. Vitamin D, being a fat-soluble vitamin, requires a minimal amount of fat. The studies show that you get at least 67% greater uptake of vitamin D if you take it with a little bit of fat, minimal 67%. But vitamin D should always be taken with some form of fat. There's been a couple of studies, because vitamin D has this kind of cure reputation about, cardiovascular disease, cancer, all this. A couple of studies have come out where they said vitamin D, we've shown that it doesn't do anything. It didn't do this. It didn't do that. But if you read if you read the study carefully, if you read the methodology, you find that they very often give vitamin D with a glass of water. So, the vitamin D is kind of passing through the body. And this is the same problem with vitamin E. The vitamin E studies that have shown no effect, I checked them, they gave with a glass of water. Vitamin E is a fat-soluble vitamin. Now, wait a minute. These guys are scientists. They don't know that these are fat-soluble. What's going on there? That's the question I ask. Doesn't make sense. I can't answer that question. But that explains why. Always take vitamin D with a little bit of fat. Absolutely. When I take my vitamin D, if I'm not eating fat, I'll take it with a little bit of fish oil, or even I have some extra virgin olive oil I take it, it's straight. I just pour it in a little cup and drink it down. I take it every day, virgin olive, because of the reasons I said. It's extremely allow you all the vitamin A, D, E, and K, all fat soluble. You do it that way, you'll absorb all of them. No problem. That's another thing. Vitamin K is also fat soluble. There's a trend now to take vitamin K with vitamin D, because the fear is that large amounts of vitamin D will cause let's say a calcium buildup in areas where it shouldn't be, like blood vessels. But when you take vitamin K, it activates an enzyme that directs the calcium out of blood vessels into structures like bone where it should be. Basically, vitamin K prevents any, let's say, some of the serious side effects of vitamin D. So, vitamin K, it's always a good idea to take vitamin K if you're taking larger amounts of vitamin D. By larger, I mean, let's say 5,000 units a day or more. Yeah.
I think I'm currently taking a 15,000 myself.
Of the D?
Yeah, D, but I'm also taking it with the vitamin K.
Okay, then you're covered. You don't need a lot. You need about maybe 100, 200 units of K and you're covered. You just want to, I only take K myself once a day.
I'm taking a 150. Yeah, it's 150. Yeah.
That's enough. If you take it once a day, remember, if you're taking the K4 to K7 version, see, there's two forms of vitamin K. One of them is called K1. That's the form that's found in vegetables. That's the one that's needed for blood coagulation, right? The other form is, general term is vitamin K2, but that it could be also consist of K4 and K7. K7 lasts up to 48 hours. In other words, if you take K7, it can last 40. You don't even have to take it every day. I do anyway, because it's not going to hurt me. I take it every day anyway, but theoretically, you only have to take K7 every other day because it lasts 40.
I didn't even know. I've been taking it every day. Oops.
It's not going to hurt you.
I wanted to run through a couple of supplements I usually recommend people take, especially, like, I don't want to say, I think rude, but like advanced age people, let's say. Some of them would be like B12, a B12 complex, a B complex, I should say, sorry. A multivitamin, obviously, lion's mane, turkey tail. Depending on the person, I might say electrolyte tabs if they do a lot of cardio outside, for example. I mean, it is Florida again. When it comes to water, I recommend everybody drink an awful lot of cold water, but I don't give any amount. It's just when you're thirsty. Any thoughts on any of that stuff?
Oh, it's all good. I mean, that's a good program. Lion's mane, of course, increases nerve growth factor. It's very good for brain health. B12, as I said, older people tend to have a tendency not to absorb B12 as much as younger people, so it's a good idea to take it. All the other stuff makes sense. The minerals are pretty important because a lot of people, for example, magnesium, unless you're eating nuts and green leafy vegetables, there's a very good chance that you're not getting even the minimal 400 milligrams a day recommended dose of magnesium. So I think magnesium is something to look at. I take magnesium. I take it like 3 times a day because for example, whenever you're under stress, your body secretes the stress hormones, the fight or flight thing, epinephrine, norepinephrine. And when that happens, magnesium is involved in the metabolism of the stress hormones. So when you secrete stress hormones, your body kicks out magnesium. It goes right out of your body. Magnesium is needed for the digestion and metabolism of protein. If you're taking a high protein diet, your body's going to lose magnesium. If you're working out intensely, a high intensity, your body is involved in reactions because shut up, Bruno. It activates, he's making noises. It activates 300 enzymes. So you're going to lose some magnesium a little bit through your sweat, and you can lose some that way. So your body, my point is, your body's always losing magnesium depending on the conditions. So it's a good idea, I think, for people to possibly look at a magnesium supplement. The best one is the two best ones are magnesium citrate and magnesium glycinate. Of the two, I'd recommend magnesium glycinate because the magnesium citrate, let me put it this way, they give it before you have a colonoscopy because it's extremely effective laxative. And even though magnesium citrate is very easily absorbed, it's a very powerful laxative. And even taking, let's say, supplemental amounts. Remember, I talked about having to go to the bathroom. You better be close to a bathroom because you're going to have to go. I have to admit, I take magnesium before my workout. I take 200. Oh, that's another thing. You want to keep, if you're taking magnesium supplementing, keep the dose no more than 200. It'll avoid a lot of the side effects of magnesium, such as the laxative effect. I take 200 milligrams at a time, never more than that of magnesium. Even taking 200 milligrams, when I take it before, about an hour before the workout, I always have to, it makes me go to the bathroom every time, every
Well,
time.
I should say I didn't mention it, but I mean, I have so many clients, they're all varied. But another one I do always usually recommend is ZMA. That's, you probably know what ZMA is. What are your thoughts on ZMA itself?
Well, ZMA, zinc and magnesium, it's two minerals that are also likely to be lacking. I mean, zinc is found in almost all protein foods, animal protein foods, and it's in some fruits and vegetables. But again, we have the problem of the anti-nutrients locking onto the zinc in fruits and vegetables. So let's say you're a vegan and you're not eating any animal protein foods. There's a good chance you could be lacking in zinc, and also a lot of older people. Again, for some reason, there's a zinc transporter that gets the zinc into the cells. With age, the zinc transporter tends to be not as active. This can cause low zinc levels in older people. And zinc is involved in a lot of the brain metabolism too. Too little zinc is associated with the onset of brain degeneration. So you want to make sure that you get zinc. And again, from a supplemental point of view, you don't want to take in too much zinc. I would say the maximum amount of zinc to take in daily supplementally is 50 milligrams, because 100 milligrams or more, or let's say more than 50 milligrams, zinc has a competitive relationship with another mineral called copper. When you're taking a lot of zinc and you don't take enough copper, the copper is excreted. You can get a copper deficiency that can lead to a lot of problems, including breakdown of the aorta, which is the large artery leading from the and copper is very important for collagen production. You start to get a lot of skin aging if you don't get enough copper. So you want to keep the zinc to, and also too much zinc will also lower your HDL level, which again increases the risk of cardiovascular disease. So you want to take in maximum 50 milligrams. The daily requirement's only 11 milligrams. 15 milligrams is a pretty good dose for most people. And if you're going to take it supplementary, look for one that has zinc complex with the amino acid methionine. They call it zinc methionate. That's the most absorbable form of zinc.